Okay, just before we start, again, if you come in late, there are two public hearings on regarding the Bristol project. If you're interested in the speaking to either of the public hearings, the first is the environmental and the second is the rezone, so the comments will be added to each public hearing. You should come up front. There's cards on the front table. Just fill out the cards, and you'll be called in the order that they are submitted. And first, the way this works is the applicant and the town staff are going to make presentation to the town board. You'll be able to view that up here. We'll be able to look at it on our computer screens. That'll take about 30 minutes, they've said, and then once that's completed, we'll go to the cards. Once the cards are completed, we'll give the applicant another opportunity to come up and address any comments or concerns. Again, there's no action being taken today by the board on these applications. There are going to be two more public town board meetings on November 7th and November 14th. This application will not be on those meeting agendas, but during the open portion, anyone can come forward and address the board on anything they want, including this. And then public comment, the record's going to be kept open until November 25th, and you can submit written comments to the board that will be incorporated into the public hearing record. And then after that, the application is eligible for consideration by the town board. And obviously, once all the comments and questions have been adequately addressed by the applicant. So again, if you're here just coming in, fill out a card up front if you want to address the board. And now we'll get into the public hearing since we have all, we'll get into the town board meeting since we have all of the members here. So I'd ask you to all please rise for a salute to the flag. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please remain standing for a moment of silence. I'd ask that you keep in your thoughts and prayers the brave servicemen and women serving our country, both here and abroad. Thank you. Please be seated. So good morning. This is a special town board meeting for Saturday, October 26th at 10 a.m. If you're here in person, I've gone over the instructions, but if you're watching us on our YouTube channel live at 10 a.m. on October 26th, you can click on the link that'll take you to today's agenda. There are two public hearings scheduled regarding the Suffolk Technology Park Bristol application. If you are interested in submitting comments to the board, just utilize that link and you can send us a question or comment or concern. We'll be happy to get back to you. If you're watching this at on a future day and time, that link is still live and you can utilize that to send us question or comment. You also can send us questions or comments regarding any other matter concerning town government or town services, not necessarily related to this application. And again, that link will remain live after today, October 26th at 10 a.m. With that, we'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilman Mineta.
Here.
Councilman Martinez.
Here.
Councilman McSweeney.
Here.
Councilman Gregory.
Here.
Supervisor Schaefer.
And I am here. So all five are present. We have a quorum present. I'm going to read the public hearing. Public hearing in reference to Town Board Environmental Determination Acceptance of Draft Environmental Impact Statement and Notice of SEQRA. Public hearing for Bristol Suffolk LLC Application 24-13 ABE. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 0100-38-1-001.000, 0100-010.00-04.00-044.00, 0100-010.00-04.00-043.00, and 0100-011.00-011.000, northeast corner of Little East Neck Road and Long Island Railroad right-of-way, Wyandanch, New York 11798. So with that, I'm going to ask Rich Grow to come forward. And I just want to state for the record that Rich Grow, his team, as well as our planning team, under the direction of our former commissioner, Rachel Shelfo, now our commissioner, Denise Graziano, as well as all of the town departments, have really worked extremely hard and well on putting this presentation together today. I think this serves as a model. I don't want to jolt planning at all, but it serves as a model for how we move things going forward, and you're to be commended for the work that you've done in getting this to this point here as quickly as you have. So I'll turn it over to you, Rich.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good morning, all. This first portion of the public hearing is to receive verbal comments on the draft environmental impact statement for the Bristol Suffolk Technology Park development. We thank our town supervisor, Rich Schaefer, and the town board and all the officials and support staff for scheduling this special town board meeting in order to provide the maximum amount of public input on the project. This is a component of the State Environmental Quality Review Act process. This is a public hearing on the draft EIS, and that is to solicit comments, any concerns from the public. The DEIS may be accessed on the town website under Departments, Environmental Control, Documents. We also have a few documents on hand for the public. You can help yourself. They're right up there. It is a very comprehensive document. It's very long, but it covers all the environmental issues, in our opinion. The town board is the lead agency for the project. They have the broadest authority, and they have required a very detailed, comprehensive, concise environmental impact statement review. Additionally, the lead agency will provide another opportunity for verbal comment at the November 14th town board meeting. That will be at 3 o'clock in this room. You may also send written comments into the town until November 25th, 2024. And there's also, Rich, there was a link that they can send comments to also. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Rich, that link is on the town website.
It's on the town website also. And we can accept verbal comments to our department. However you want to express any concerns, you may do so. I'm going to turn it over now to the applicant's consultant, Nelson & Pope, and they're going to give details on the mitigation measures of the project, which is probably the most important part of the secret process. I thank you.
Great, thank you. Just identify yourself for the record.
Sure, thank you. I'm not Nelson & Pope, that I can tell you. So actually what we're going to do first is I'm going to do the introduction for the change of zone and secret, and we're going to have the consultants come up in order. I'm Bram Weber, Weber Law Group in Melville, 290 Broad Hollow Road, and I'm the attorney for the applicant. In keeping with the supervisor's direction to keep our presentation to 30 minutes, I'm going to tell the board and the public who's here from our applicant team. Not everybody is scheduled to speak, but we certainly have a comprehensive team here to answer questions. David Williams is here. He's the managing director from Bristol Group, the applicant. Tracy Edwards is here, who has been working with us as our community outreach coordinator. Mark Cuthbertson is here. He is the attorney for Pine Lawn Cemetery, who owns the property. Dale Koch is here. He's the professional engineer from Bowler Engineering. He will be making a presentation on the site plan. Osmond Barry and Russell Scott, they're professional engineers from Nelson & Pope. They are here to speak about the traffic impact statement as well as roadway mitigation. Carrie O'Farrell's here. She's our secret professional from Nelson, Pope & Voorhees. She's responsible for that very large volume of materials that's there. Wrote and read every word, and she'll make a presentation today on the mitigation, as Rich Gross said. And John Anderson is here. He's our architect from Ware Malcolm. And we have one interesting and innovative part of the application and the development, which is a community solar initiative. And Nick Williams is here. He's not scheduled to speak. I'll speak a little bit about community solar. And then if there are further questions that I can't answer, Nick can answer them. So we're here after 5 years of meetings with the town the Wyandanch School District, the concerned taxpayers of Wheatley Heights and Dix Hills, and the concerned citizens of Wyandanch, individual homeowners, labor, elected officials at all levels, and after a thorough planning and environmental review by the town, as the supervisor said. That review remains ongoing, and we are very appreciative of the opportunity to present the Suffolk Technology Park to you this morning. We are particularly thankful for the dedication of the town board and the community members who are taking time on a Saturday morning to attend this change of zone and secret draft environmental impact statement public hearing. All of us together have been dedicated to making this project the best it can be for all stakeholders and to set it up for success, which means job creation, significant annual tax payments, an injection of daily economic activity for the local community, and the most modern, advanced, well-planned business park on Long Island. As Long Islanders, we should be proud that a company like Bristol Group is willing to invest more than $240 million on our island to create a business park which will help new businesses incubate and established businesses grow. Bristol Group is one of the nation's most sophisticated, experienced, and community-minded developers and has made not only a significant commitment to construct the best business park on Long Island, but also to contribute financially and in other means as well to positively impact the communities around the property. Today, you will hear briefly, and we're trying to be brief, about the site plan, which has been developed over years, evolved, and made better through significant town and community feedback. You will also hear about significant investments in roadway infrastructure improvements, which will improve the day-to-day experience on the roadways around the property. But before we get to those important project details, I want to briefly talk about Bristol Group. It is rare to come across a large development company so dedicated to treating all stakeholders, the town, the community, and their future tenants equally. As much time that was put into the site plan was also put into meetings with, starting over Zoom during COVID, the civic associations and school district, each of which helped shape the overall plan for the better. Bristol Group as a company has 44 years of experience developing diverse real estate assets, which include office, retail uses, and business parks, like that being proposed here. Bristol has successfully completed a project at 49 Mall Drive in Smithtown. Vinny, if you want to put that picture up, please. 49 Mall Drive. Thank you. That's a picture of 49 Mall Drive, recently completed, which has been leased to 2 tenants, Red Bull, and a local tenant relocating and consolidating from multiple obsolete buildings to the modern building constructed by Bristol. And that's an example. I just want to take a minute to say that this project that we are proposing for Pine Lawn is not a large logistics center. When people think about industrial, or they think the Amazon warehouse, that's not what this is. This is a business park. This is office, assembly, warehouse space for smaller sizes, 30, 40, 50,000 square feet for local businesses who are currently located in obsolete and outdated space built in the 1980s that has, outmoded office space and broken furniture and bad lighting and small windows into a space that is modern, advanced, clean, and will help these businesses keep their employees happy and grow. So that's an example of what's now been fully leased in Smithtown. 2 other projects I just want to mention. One is in the Hillsborough Technology Center. It's a picture right there. That's 925,000 square feet. That's a business park on 74 acres in Fort Lauderdale. We wish we could do the palm trees here. That's the one part that unfortunately we can't duplicate. And then there's a second Seneca Park, which is 882,182 square feet on 46 acres. So we're also asked what kind of tenants are going to be at the Suffolk Technology Center. So I just mentioned it's intended for Long Island companies to be able to stay here, grow and expand, and also new companies to incubate. Here's an example of some of the tenants that are in the other 2 business parks that I mentioned. So you'll see what we're anticipating is a mix of local and national businesses that perform office, warehouse, assembly, and other commercial activities. These are quality companies who pay their employees fairly, operate responsibly, and add valuable jobs to the local community. So Suffolk Technology Park is intended to do the same. First, it's going to bring significant new job creation to the community. So that large volume, that draft environmental impact statement, estimates that 767 jobs will be created during construction, which equals over $111 million in total wages. That DEIS estimates that 1,958 permanent jobs will be created at the property, which will generate an estimated $160 million in total wages annually. So in addition to that positive job creation, the property, which is completely off the tax rolls currently as cemetery property, is going to go on the tax rolls and be entirely tax positive for all taxing jurisdictions. So the DEIS estimates that at full build-out, using current 2024 tax rates, because we don't know what the future tax rates are going to be, so we're using the tax rates that exist today, the property will pay a total of $5.6 million annually in property taxes, with $3.6 million going directly to the Wyandanch School District for school taxes. And for other notable tax jurisdictions, it is estimated the town would receive just over $300,000 annually in taxes, the county police over $550,000 annually in taxes, and the library, fire, and ambulance taxes at combined over $725,000 annually. And finally, on top of the job creation, tax benefits, and generation of local spending dollars, Bristol Group has agreed to the largest community benefits package for a project of this size in Long Island history. So that it is clear and on the record, I'm going to close with some of the details of the community benefits Bristol has agreed to provide. And so first, I'm going to talk about the civic associations, both the concerned taxpayers of Wheatley Heights, Dix Hills, and the concerned citizens of Wyandanch Civic Association. And these benefits are each to the civic association. So it's not a combination. I'm going to read a list, and they're going to both civic associations equally. A $5,000 contribution to both organizations in 2025, and subsequent $2,500 contributions annually for the following 24 years, increasing every 5 years by $250. So those are direct contributions to the civic associations. An annual $2,500 contribution to both organizations for 25 years for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and other holiday programs, increasing every 5 years by $250. 10 annual scholarships of $1,500 each to both organizations for 25 years to be used for college or trade schools to deserving high school graduates, increasing every 5 years by $250 per scholarship. A point that was very important to the Wheatley Heights Civic Association, they mentioned to us during the meeting, their concern regarding storage of lithium-ion batteries. So Bristol is committed to following all state, county, and town laws and regulations, no matter how strict they may be, regarding the storage of lithium-ion batteries at the property. Bristol's made a commitment to work with the tenants at the property on job opportunities and a summer job fair for internships for area young people, and something both civic associations mentioned to us, as well as the Wyandanch School District, are job opportunities. So over time, Bristol's going to work with the tenants that are going to be at the property, as I said, on internships, mentorships, and job fairs, and so forth. Further, Bristol's committed to encouraging and facilitating, if possible, working with the tenants at the property to advertise and list job opportunities directly with both civic organizations. And something that the Wheatley Heights Civic Association asked for, which was direct points of contact. So Bristol's going to provide direct points of contact for the Civic Association with not only property ownership, but also management to address any site-related issues and to coordinate cooperation between the organization and the property. Specifically to the Wyandanch School District, in addition to the tax payments and a commitment to work together on job, mentorship, and internship availability at the park, Bristol also committed to include Wyandanch Memorial High School in Bristol's Community Solar Initiative, which I mentioned at the beginning, which is going to enable the school district to entirely eliminate the high school's electric bill for the 25-year length of the community solar program. So that's an annual savings. We've looked at the bills that we've been provided the bills by the electric bills by the school district. So that's an estimated annual savings of $150,000 per year directly to the school district, which is going to save the school district $4.8 million over 25 years, and that's the 25-year length of the program. So very briefly about that program. So Community Solar places solar panels on the Suffolk Technology Park building rooftops. It's not solar in the community, it's just solar at the park. And what it does, it allows Bristol to offer a program of credits to be used by area homeowners and renters to lower their electric bills. So the energy generated by the solar panels at the park will generate energy for the electric grid. As a homeowner or renter which subscribes to the program gets credits which are generated by the utility from the solar power. So there's not solar energy again directly in the community. So they get the homeowners or the renters will get credits from PSE&G against their electric bill. The homeowner doesn't do anything. All they need to do is subscribe to the program and receive the credits on their electric bill. The homeowner does not install solar panels on their property. They just receive the credits. So this is an innovative and substantial community benefit Bristol is offering to the residents closest to the Suffolk Technology Park. Through the Community Solar Program, Bristol will also be able to offer the existing Wyandanch Ambulance Corps building and the Wyandanch Library up to 25% annual reductions in their electric energy costs. And we estimate that the residents that participate in the program could see up to 22% off their electric bills by just participating in this program. So I'm going to conclude on the community benefits with what Bristol has offered to support at the town level for important town initiatives. So Bristol has agreed to a $350,000 contribution to planned renovations of the Family Life Center and turf fields for the Wyandanch community, an initial $50,000 contribution for town beautification projects. On the anniversary of the $50,000 payment, Bristol will contribute an additional $16,000 per year for 9 years towards beautification projects. A $25,000 contribution to the Babylon EIP, Empire State MWBE Connection Initiative, which facilitates the connection between local entrepreneurs and the New York State Minority and Women's Business Enterprise Program. That annual contribution to this initiative on the anniversary of the initial $25,000 payment will be made for 4 additional years for a total contribution to this initiative of $125,000. And a commitment to provide opportunities during and after construction of the Suffolk Technology Park, which is anticipated for 5 years, a 5-year build-out, to provide construction, professional services, and supplier opportunities for companies qualified under the New York State Minority and Women's Business Opportunity Program and service-disabled veterans-owned businesses. All of these important direct financial contributions, tax payments, and community job benefits can only result from approval of the Suffolk Technology Park as proposed. In order to be able to construct this Suffolk Technology Park, we are seeking a change of zone approval from this board for 100 acres of the total property site, which is 111 acres. So there's the map of the property. 11.2 acres in the southwest corner of the property will remain under the control of Pine Lawn Cemetery. That shows as Lot 2 on the map. Lot 1 is the development site of 100 acres. We have worked with the town and drafted a proposed new zoning code, the PIP 2 zoning district, which is modeled after the town already has a PIP 1 district for commercial space business parks. We've modeled the PIP 2 after that zoning district, and the application we, as again, have made to the town is a change of zone from the current property zoning to that PIP 2 district. And the project we propose today will continue the smart utilization of land for economic development and job creation. And that concludes my initial remarks.
So I'm going to submit up to the clerk, because we received what you just stated in writing. This is from Dave Williams from Bristol Suffolk LLC. It's a letter dated October 24th, 2024, and it outlines all of the initiatives that you just mentioned. So we'll hand that up to the clerk and include it in the record.
Thank you. So
I have a comment for Brandon.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Councilman Mineta?
Yes.
So that's wonderful. Thank you, for all the hard work and working with the community and working with the town, especially on these community givebacks. But one thing I want to make sure is that, a lot of these community givebacks and grants and, that you're providing has long runways in front of it, which is great. It shows a commitment to the local community. But one thing we want to make sure is that, assets get traded, often in real estate, right? So if this property gets sold to a private equity investment fund, real estate investment trust, that, these benefits, continue throughout that runway and throughout the life of what you're committing to. So perhaps, something can be drafted up that if the property were to get sold by Bristol or traded or transferred, that at that closing, all of those long-term benefits, get lump sum payments. Because it might be hard to have the new owner commit to that, So if Bristol and you guys, as you're structuring these community benefit agreements, can make sure that that happens, if the asset gets traded, it would be appreciated to look into that.
I think it's an excellent point, and we should put something in writing.
And why don't we include it as a CNR, so
Sure.
it'll be recorded in the county clerk's office?
And I think just on the point, though, if there could just be some flexibility there, so whether it's lump sum or if that new purchaser is willing to continue those payments over time, one or the other, just so long as ultimately the commitment is fulfilled,
Sure,
correct?
yep.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good suggestion.
Yep, thank
Anybody
you. All
else
right,
before Bram? Nope, okay, Bram, who's next?
Dale Koch on the site plan.
All right, good morning, Supervisor Schaefer, members of the board, and concerned residents here today. I thank you first for taking time out of your Saturday morning.
Just your name and...
Sure. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Dale Koch. I'm with the firm Bowler Engineering. I'm a principal. We're located at 275 Broad Hollow Road in Melville. As I was saying, just a quick thank you for everyone to come out this morning. We greatly appreciate everyone taking their time and hearing about this application. I'm just going to start with a real quick introduction about Bowler and our involvement in the project. We are the engineers of record for the project located here in Pine Lawn. We were also Bristol's engineer of record for their 49 Mall Drive project. And the reason why that's important is it allows us to have experience with Bristol and understand that their ways of doing things, what they look for, and essentially what makes them different. So we have been working with Bristol, again, Mr. Weber stated 5 years. We started this project actually in 2021, and we started working very closely with the people that are involved with the project. Most importantly, and I've stated this on the record in the past, but we have a lot of applications that we put in with the town of Babylon. We've had a tremendous, very positive experience always working with you and your planning staff. It doesn't go without mentioning that's a really, really important part of a project. And, all projects have their challenges, but when you get brought in and get to work with a group that's as team-oriented and helpful as the town of Babylon, we do really appreciate it. It just makes things a little easier. So I like to state that on the record, and we appreciate everyone's hard work. So just as an effort to try and go through the evolution of this project, like we've said, it's been around for a long time. Started in 2021 with drafting up concept plans and trying to understand not only the surrounding neighborhood, it's really important, but where we come in is to actually understand the function of the site. So when we look at a site like this, and you see these big buildings, and you see all these parking areas, and you see these truck loading courts, and all the things that I will go through in more detail, from a 30,000-foot level, we look at something like this, and the point we want to make is we want to make an efficient and safe site plan. You want things to operate in a way that makes your tenants allows your tenants to be successful, but then also creates a safe environment for the folks that work at the buildings, for the, any type of delivery trucks coming in and out of the site, any type of modes of transportation that come in and out of the site. So we focus really solely on the site plan. So the site plan from day one come into about the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, we had heard a lot of feedback from the town. We had heard a lot of feedback from the residents. So we made one initial revision, which is shown to you on the plan above, which was our proposed action site plan in February 2024. But more importantly, some of the changes that were made to that plan were the last 3 buildings on the the east side of the site were rotated from the previous application, or the original application, to provide some additional screening and just better site circulation for the residents to the north and east of the property. We reduced the initial size of the recharge basin to increase natural buffer areas to remain to the north, west, south, north, east, and southeast of the property. There was a big trailer storage area that would have been outside of the truck courts. We eliminated that to give back some additional landscaped area. And then the buildings nearest to the entrance, really the middle entrance off of Little East Neck Road, they were reoriented and the geometry of those buildings were shifted a little bit to provide a more open main entranceway off of Little East Neck Road, just in a way to try and help with the visual aspect of as you're driving north on Little East Neck Road, just to make it look a little bit more appeasing. And then the ring road, which I'll speak a little bit more about in a few minutes, but that was also modified to allow for the traffic within the site to be a little bit more centralized with a little bit bigger buffers and just, trying to plan out how to get that to work as efficiently as possible and then just keep everything as internal to the site as possible. So then this application was made in February 2024. We met, again, multiple rounds of meetings, made some additional revisions, and I think these revisions going into what we're calling our preferred alternative plan are the really important ones. So you'll see on the screen in front of you, there's 2 buildings that really go north-south in the middle of the building that look like they got jogged down. Those buildings were reduced to increase the buffer to the north of the property and provide even larger natural buffer, substantial natural buffer. This is something that we've worked on a lot of applications. You don't oftentimes get 300, 400, 500-foot buffers from various pieces of the property. I mean, this is a tremendous buffer. Just the fact that the natural area is as large as it is, your impacts visually are minimal. That being the 2 middle buildings, so you'll see those moved. You'll also see on the east side of the site, where I had mentioned those 3 buildings got rotated, the most northern building that's oriented east-west, that building was shortened by about 75, close to 100 feet to be more in line. As you can see, it's a straight shot up and down north-south, planned north-south on the furthest east side of the site. That allowed for us to increase the buffer to 28th Street substantially to the recharge basin, which 90% of the time will also act as a buffer because it'll be heavily landscaped. So really by reorienting the site and again, to the credit of the planning department really working, this is, some of this was based off the first round of comments, we were able to make these revisions. So really good thing there. The other thing I like to point out, it's hard to see on this plan, but our ring road has central landscaped islands that go throughout the entire site. Those central landscaped islands, as you're driving around that ring road, are 20 feet wide. So as you're driving, it's really like a boulevard effect. It makes a really nice feature. And then finally, just by way of talking about the changes between the 2 plans, the buffer along Little East Neck Road was increased to a minimum of 50 feet. So that buffer from the inside sidewalk to the first curb along the property line is 50 feet. So for a front yard setback, landscape setback, where the requirement in Babylon is generally 8 feet, we're providing 50. And then just a couple of nice things that, again, we take a lot of time to make sure that these plans are laid out in a really safe and efficient way. Things you don't necessarily think about, but the loading areas are back to back with each other. So you'll see, if you start on the west side of the property, you have an employee parking area and then the 2 loading areas for the buildings. On the north and south of those 2 first buildings, and the same for every building, we have our drive-in doors, and they're the drive-in ramps, which is basically a ramp from grade up into the building. Those are covered. And I say those are covered because it does 2 things. First, it provides a better buffer to the loading area. And second, when it snows or there's inclement weather, it provides a safe way for the employees to drive, a forklift into the building or something like that. So, not the biggest deal in the world, but just ways that we think of improving the site from a safety standpoint. It also reduces noise and just keeps all those activities as screened as possible. We're going to provide bike lanes throughout the entire site. There were bus stops and rideshare stop areas designed and located throughout the site. We made sure that there was pedestrian connectivity throughout the entire site. We worked with Nelson and Pope, had a really robust and detailed landscape plan prepared, all new dark sky compliant lighting. There's some additional buffers and such to the properties to the south, just again to help from the visual aspect. And then, just because I'm an engineer and I have to mention it, we've been working really hard to make sure that the utilities have been designed in a very effective way. For example, stormwater, we're designing a system that'll make sure that any stormwater that's going into the ground will first be captured and cleaned, and all the garbage that inevitably will get into the drainage system gets captured. It can get cleaned out very easily, and then will ultimately go into various systems to be discharged into the ground. But we've spent a lot of time and worked very closely with the environmental department to make sure that that's in the good spot. And then lastly, the last piece, and just from a design standpoint really, is that the grading, the site starts to go downhill. So as you go into the site, you'll be going down, which helps create an additional nice buffer where the buildings will be lower than the surrounding properties. So any trees or anything, if you have a 20-foot tree, but your building's 5 feet down, you really have what's more effectively like a 25-foot tree. Just trying to make sure I hit the, oh, and then the last thing, we worked really closely as well and had a meeting with the town's carting company, which, not many other towns do this, to allow us to meet with the people who are actually going to be picking up the garbage. And they helped us locate the compactors and the trash enclosures and things like that. And again, something you don't really think about, but really important for a site like this to have this all coordinated. And like I said, it's overall been a really nice experience working with everybody involved. The plan, I think, is in a really great spot where, parking is separated from loading areas and just creates a really safe and efficient plan. I think that overall, hopefully once this goes into construction, the site will be able to be built in a very easy way. And I think it'll be a real positive asset for the town and surrounding neighborhoods. So I'm here to answer any questions the board may have. And that
Anybody have any
concludes my
questions for
presentation.
Dale? Nope. Okay, thank you, Dale.
Was that 5 minutes?
Hey, Russ.
So you got Russell Scott from Nelson and Pope, who has been instrumental in designing all of the roadway mitigation and roadway improvements, which we know is of particular concern to some area residents. Spent a lot of time, and this is a very expensive roadway improvement package, and Russ can explain it.
Good morning, Supervisor. Good morning, Town Board. Good morning, public. I'm Russ Scott from Nelson and Pope Engineers, 70 Maxis Road in Melville. I'm here to walk you through some of the off-site improvements in front of the site, improvements at the nearby intersections, and briefly talk about the traffic impact study. So we'll start with 2 site access points on Little East Neck Road. The southern access, which is on the right-hand side of the screen circled, is a rights in, rights out access, so no vehicles can make lefts in or out. It's about approximately 600 feet north of the railroad tracks. Continuing north is a full access that's going to be signalized. That intersection will have lefts in and full access movements. Along the entire site frontage, there will be curb, sidewalk, drainage improvements. The sidewalk will connect the community to the south of the tracks to the park that is just north of the development. We plan on putting pedestrian crossing on the intersection over by the railroad tracks, which I'll get into a little bit later. This is the northern access. It's fully signalized. In order to improve the operation of this intersection, the access to the park is being relocated to the north. With that, we are beautifying the park entrance, new signage, new plantings, like I said, closing the existing access, increasing the parking spots in the parking lot due to the realignment. So there'll be a few more parking spots. We're going to pave that parking lot and restripe it. There will also be 2 new left turn bays into the park and into the site. This will allow vehicles to free flow north or southbound on Little East Neck Road, and you won't have to stop when someone is making a left turn, and that will help traffic move more freely. You can flip to next. So now a little bit about our traffic impact study. So the traffic impact study was prepared to assess the impacts of the proposed development and identify the required mitigation measures. There was input during the preparation of the study, and it was also reviewed and accepted and approved by the Town of Huntington, Town of Babylon, the Suffolk County Department of Public Works, and the Babylon's traffic consultant. We worked with a lot of agencies, we received the input on the intersections to count, how to go about it. So we had a lot of input into the preparation of the study. The first step of the study is to see what impact it's going to have on the nearby street network. We counted 6 intersections. We did counts in the AM, the midday, and the PM during the weekdays, and then we did a Saturday midday count as well. We went into the field. We observed what was going on. We understand that the intersection of Little East Neck Road and Long Island Avenue has lots of backups in the morning and in the afternoon. Sometimes it backs up all the way south to the school and almost not all the way to the park on the north, but 3/4 of the way to the park. We also understand that there are a lot of backups up by Colonial Spring roads as it exists today without the development even being built. People wait multiple red and green cycles to get through the intersection, which can become frustrating. Our office is in Melville. We have a lot of people that drive through the intersection and complain about it as it exists today. So once we have all this existing traffic volume data, we do our field visits, we put all this information into a computer model, and we make sure that it's mirroring the existing conditions that are out there today. So we start looking at the intersection, make sure that our model is actually what's happening out in the real world. And then we proceed to the next step. The next step is to review both the magnitude of the traffic volume generated during the peak hours of our new project and review the distribution of the site traffic entering and exiting our site. You can flip back to the other one still. Thank you. We perform traffic counts to review the vehicles and trucks at other similar projects. It was previously mentioned that the Hillsborough project, so we did counts there, and that was to get a sense of how many trucks and vehicles in the peak hours and came out of that, so we can compare that to the ITE manual. We also looked at the Heartland Business Center in Brentwood, and we did counts there as well. Both those projects have similar uses in the buildings, mixed use, so that we can get an understanding of the cars and the trucks coming in and out of the site. We take all this data and we put that in our model, and it's able to allow us to determine what mitigation measures need to be made at the nearby intersections. So 2 of the intersections impacted the most are Colonial Spring Roads and Little East Neck Road. So as everyone I'm sure in this room is aware, currently Little East Neck Road is a single lane in both directions. I'm sorry, Colonial Spring Road is a single lane in both directions. Little East Neck Road comes out in a Y formation. To hit Colonial Springs, that's also a single lane. So when you have a single lane at the intersection, when someone's making a left, you back up vehicles behind it, or people try to go into the shoulder and get around, and it slows down the vehicles. The existing Y promotes high right turn speeds around the corner. So we developed this alternative with the town of Huntington, where we make this intersection more of a traditional T intersection. The T intersection slows down the right turn vehicles because the turn is sharper, so it making the intersection safer. We added a dedicated right turn lane. We added a left and a right turn lane for Little East Neck Road. And the most important thing is we have 2 through lanes going from the south to the north. What this allows is when you have a single lane, like I was saying before, you have the lefts that are restricted, and when the light turns green, only a certain amount of vehicles can get through that intersection because you only have a single lane. Once you add 2 lanes, now you're able to basically double the amount of cars that get through on a single green cycle. So you're processing more cars through the intersection, which then you're reducing the delay for people sitting there for multiple cycles. So as you head northbound, you have 2 lanes headed north, going into 2 lanes, and it tapers back down to a single lane. People may ask, well, why can't you carry the lane all the way through the intersection? The way to improve the intersection capacity, you only need that additional lane for a couple hundred feet past the intersection. The other thing that the 2 lanes north of the intersection allows, it allows us to have a dual left from Little East Neck Road northbound to Colonial Springs, and helps us relieve that traffic flow. A majority of the movements are making that left and headed north. You can flip to the next one. So now we have, the intersection of Long Island Avenue and Little East Neck Road. Again, we have a single lane in all 4 directions. Same thing, it blocks lefts, reduces capacity. When people are trying to get by that left turn vehicle, it slows everything down. So what we look to do was add a lot of roadway widening, both north and south of the intersection, to allow 2 through lanes headed north on Little East Neck Road and 2 through lanes south. Due to right-of-way restrictions, we were not able to add dedicated left turn lanes, but having a 2 lanes, same thing. You're able to process more cars through the intersection in a shorter amount of time. Headed along Long Island Avenue, we have a dedicated left turn lane, a dedicated through lane, and a dedicated right turn lane for both those movements. Same thing, we're able to add green arrows to the intersection and process more cars through the intersection. So those are basically the improvements at those 2 intersections. Like I said before, we're going to add a pedestrian crossing so that someone can get from the school to the south over Long Island Avenue north up to the park. Let me just make sure. So in summary, there are significant roadway improvements that are drastically improving the existing conditions. Even with the additional traffic of the development, we have improved the intersections better than they are today with adding these additional lanes. We think that by improving some of these 2 intersections, I know there's some cut-through traffic in the community just north of the development between Colonial Springs and Little East Neck Road. People try to cut through some of the side streets. So since we're able to drastically reduce the delay up at Colonial Springs and at Long Island Avenue, we believe that would be reduced. So that is a summary of the traffic
Great,
improvements.
thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Wayne?
Has the fire department given feedback on your traffic adjustments?
We have not received feedback from the fire department. What we did do is we improved all the radii. So currently, right now, there's very tight radius points, and it's difficult to make right turns at the intersection of the railroad. But we have increased the radii. So one step will be eventually to talk to the fire department.
Great, thank you. Next.
Good, thank you. Next is Carrie O'Farrell from Nelson Pope and Voorhees, who will talk about that much anticipated mitigation that Rich Grow asked for 45 minutes ago.
Good morning. My name is Carrie O'Farrell. I'm a senior partner with Nelson Pope and Voorhees, 70 Maxis Road in Melville, New York. Since we're going a little long, I will try and go as quickly as possible, but this is some of the good meaty stuff, so I don't want to go too quickly. I am from upstate New York and tend to speak very quickly, so if I'm going too fast, just wave and let me know that I should slow down. But on the screen before you, and as Dale mentioned before me, I also have had the unique experience of working with this developer, the Bristol Group, and I have found them to be extraordinary, quite frankly, compared to many other clients that I've worked with, developers that I've worked with. At each turn in this application, when we have had input, they have said, let's fix it. Each opportunity to improve the plan, rather than playing the game back and forth, wait to the hearing, then we'll give in a little something later. They haven't played that game at all. We got comments from the public, they modified the plan. Traffic isn't functioning, we're gonna fix it. They voluntarily are doing a number of things in terms of working with the community, really, really working with the community and the neighbor and concern over potential impacts to the neighbors to the north, the neighbors to the east, really been, I would say, extraordinarily mindful of impacts, both visual, noise, traffic, you name it, we have hit it in this very extensive study. and they have voluntarily done things like increase the building step back to over 400 feet, provided over a 200-foot wooded buffer or more on the north side of the property to the residences to the north. And the same, it's a 100-plus foot wooded buffer plus a vegetated buffer for the residents to the east. That is extraordinary when it comes to commercial development. So it is important for, I just want to emphasize that they have really gone above and beyond in every instance. We asked them about a sustainable landscape plan. They said, absolutely, let's do it. So that reduces water. That is from a habitat standpoint, it provides, habitat replacement. I've done all sorts of interesting things along the way, the community solar, just to make sure that they're making this project as sustainable, as, mindful of the community as possible. And they've really shown themselves to be good neighbors. So both, in their other developments, but certainly in their design of this one. We can go to the next slide. Another thing that they have voluntarily done, they don't need to do this, they are not located in a sewer district. They could, based on Suffolk County Sanitary Code, provide the sewage treatment on site, subsurface leaching pools. That's certainly the cheapest thing to do. They are voluntarily connecting this project to public sewers. We worked with Suffolk County DPW on how that connection was going to be made. They instructed the connection to be to the east, to the west, on Conklin. It's a little difficult to see, but it's basically right along Long Island Avenue. We have to jack the sewer main under the railroad tracks, not an inexpensive exercise, obviously. But again, they're doing that as a public benefit because that means all that sewage is not staying on the property. It reduces groundwater impacts. It's an environmental benefit for sure. And again, it provides an opportunity for that sewer connection is now made under the railroad for future public benefit. We've heard from the community in other public meetings about what can we do about, can sewer be done for the surrounding areas as it relates to this project? It was asked when we met with Suffolk County DPW. That was not an option, but the county is pursuing, as you know, public sewers in this area. That's currently being studied, and funding is trying to be, put together for that. So unfortunately, they would have done it, but we weren't able to based on the input we received from Suffolk County DPW. Next slide. This is just an example of some of the analysis that we did in the environmental impact study. And again, this is available online. This is Appendix N for the community members that live nearby. Appendix N is all the visual impact analysis. And this is a profile that shows, specifically the condition that would be in the future based on the retention of that existing wooded buffer. And as Dale mentioned, the topography of the site and their proposed grading as the entrance road comes in and heads to the east, the road drops so that the buildings, the roadway, the lights, everything comes down, and they've put a vegetated buffer. If you kind of look at the middle of the screen, there's a 50-foot evergreen and landscape buffer. That's the middle, right next to the roadway, boulevard-style roadway in the middle. Vinny, are you able to just, with your mouse, show? Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, you got a laser? Oh, can I have that? So excited, all right. All right, so, sorry, I just want to make sure I don't get anybody. No, maybe not. It doesn't like me now. What did I do? All right, so anyway, the one in the middle is the landscape buffer. You can see the boulevard-style road with the single tree. That's the landscaping the middle of the two roadways. As you head towards the residential use, there's a landscape buffer, evergreen, and then there's 200 feet of existing evergreen trees that will remain. And the elevation of the homes on Circle Drive is such that that's higher in elevation than the property as you start to head south towards the building. So there's a drop in elevation from those backyards into the property, and then there's going to be a further drop based on the design of the roadway and the buildings to further depress it in. They are also providing noise walls in locations at the end of the courts, where the truck courts. You notice the buildings are facing each other to help with noise. And then at the end of the roadway that meets, that runs north-south in each instance, there's a noise wall proposed to help with additional, again, voluntarily provide additional buffer for noise and noise attenuation, in addition to the vegetated buffer and the proposed evergreen buffer. This landscape plan is robust. It is a very big site, so the plan's a little deceiving. It doesn't look like there's that big of a buffer when you just look up there right now, but it's because it's 100 acres. So, that's a 400-foot setback from the residential properties to the buildings, and again, 200 feet of vegetation, mature wooded vegetation, and then 50 foot of landscape vegetation. Same thing with North 28th Street. There's a 100-foot natural remaining wooded buffer, and then in the instance of the recharge basin, which is set back over 100 feet, you've got a triple row, double row of evergreens surrounding it, and the recharge basin plantings, when you look at it, that will not look like a traditional recharge basin. We've spent a lot of time and energy on selection of species to really make it look special. Next. So at this point, we are here to finally get your comments. I'm sorry that we took a little longer than expected, but the next steps are we're in a public comment period at this time. Documents available in Town Hall, both public libraries, Wyandanch, Half Hollow Hills libraries. Town Planning has one, Town Clerk has one. Online certainly is the easiest way to view the documents. We are taking the town rather, is taking public comments until Monday, November 25th. There will be a second opportunity for verbal comments to be heard during a regular town board meeting on the 14th. That won't have this formal presentation. It's just an opportunity for you to hear comments again. All comments, whether they're written, email, verbal today, verbal at the next meeting, they're all treated the same. We respond to all of them in what's called the final environmental impact statement. So those are all, we have a transcript of this meeting. The next meeting, we identify all the comments and we write detailed responses. That will be provided on the town's website as well, and you'll get noticed about it. And then finally, this board will issue what's called the findings statement, which is the conclusion of the environmental review process. And no decision can be made on either the zoning or the site plan until you conclude that process. So those are the next steps. And then Bram can take it away.
Thank you, Bram. Thank you, Carrie. Bram?
Thank you. So I have nothing more to add at this time, so unless there are any questions from the board members.
Just have one question for Maria.
Yep, Councilman Mineta.
So I saw the site plan layout of the sizes of the building, and I'm not sure, I know every developer has their own, business model and kind of what makes sense. Has there been any thought in terms of, in any of the buildings for any smaller sized unit availability, 10,000 square foot units for some smaller size manufacturers, or is it just kind of like minimum of 30 to 40,000 square feet?
I mentioned minimum of 30, 40, but I think to your point, I think that if there are 10,000 square foot tenants that are looking to locate here, there's enough flexibility on the site to be able to accommodate them.
Okay, yeah, that's just a huge need on Long Island right now, is for the smaller sized manufacturers to have space like this. So if that could be looked at in the planning, that would be appreciated.
Absolutely.
Great. Anybody else?
Yeah, just one.
Yep, Councilman Gregg.
Hey, Bram. So I think it's a great idea, the grading. I just want to know what impact that has as far as like water runoff. Does that affect the size of the recharge basin, or?
Sure. You're asking the lawyer that question? You know better.
I didn't catch him before.
So I think when you hear that, the first part of it, and I'll answer a different question first, is just, so first, the site today naturally grades that way. So if you go from the west side of the site to the east side of the site, there's and I don't want to misspeak, but it's about 30-foot grade change. So we're kind of utilizing that and just moving the soil around to accommodate that. It's not going to be big export of soil or anything like that. It's all remaining on site. The drainage will be put in as we build the site, and it'll all be captured on site. There'll be no site runoff or anything like that.
Anybody else? No? Okay, we'll go to the cards then. Grant Newberger. And when you do come forward, just state your name and address for the record. We ask that you keep your comments as brief as possible.
Sure. Grant Newberger, on behalf of the Nassau Suffolk Building Trades, 390 Radborough Drive, Hauppauge, New York. Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, thank you for letting me speak today. This developer has been very proactive, meeting with us in the building trades. We represent the 36 different unions in construction here on Long Island and comprise a membership of 65,000 all Long Islanders. Like I said, this developer has been very proactive in meeting with us. They've made a real commitment to us on this project, and I'm here today, speaking in favor, and just, for the purposes of this discussion today, when a developer, especially on a project of this scale, makes the commitment to build union, it really provides a true apprenticeship pipeline that allows us to take our community residents and give them a path to the middle class that doesn't require a college degree. And so that's as brief as I can be, and thank you so much for letting me speak
Oh,
today.
thank you for coming today. Kent Cater.
Good morning, Supervisor Schaefer, Town Board members. My name is Kent Cater. I'm a resident of Babylon. I was the contractor who built for the Bristol Group at 49 Mall. I'm currently working with the Bristol Group on their build-out of the building, specifically Red Bull, which is an international company. It kind of gave me a look on the inside of what's in these big warehouses. Every morning, 40 to 50 people come to this warehouse, young people, old people, multi-races, and they work together as like a family. And it's exciting to see, because when you drive by, you say, oh, another big box. No, it's not. Inside, they're creating jobs, quality jobs. This project's projected to do 700 construction jobs. The unions, they spoke about it. 2,000 permanent jobs are going to be created here. That's important. I mean, the economic benefits, $25 million in sales tax per year during construction, that's a tremendous benefit. The package that Bristol is offering the surrounding community, that's a tremendous benefit. But I just wanted to speak of the Bristol Group and how particular they are and how protective they are of the neighborhood. During the rent-up period at 49 Mall, Dave would turn away potential tenants because he didn't think they were right for the neighborhood. Now that's a businessman turning away someone willing to pay him because he didn't think it was right for the neighborhood. And I just wanted to speak to that, and thank you for your time.
Great.
I'm in favor of the project.
Thank you. Robert Lutz.
Excuse me, I got a little cold, but Robert Lutz, 122 Ridge Road, a local resident of the community. Okay. I do want to thank everybody from Bristol Group because they have actually responded and listened to a lot of things that we've already spoken about. All right, so we do appreciate everything that they have done so far. But a couple of quick things. Okay, there was a mention that the road, the backup on the road on Little East Neck only goes up to the park. That's not a true statement. All right, I'm 2 houses north of the park, and I'm going to tell you, there's a minimum of a 2-hour delay starting at 3 o'clock every single afternoon behind my house, okay, till 5, 5:30, sometimes 6. So it's a tremendous backup, all right, on Little East Neck Road, okay. The road improvements that are proposed, I'm in construction, I'm an electrician, so I kind of understand a lot of the paperwork that was presented, so, all right, I commend them on a lot of the stuff. It does actually look very well, okay? There was something that we did speak about at our community meeting, that on the North Road, or what they're calling their Middle Road, there's two entrances, okay? There's a northbound and a southbound entrance into that northern road, okay? We had asked that that buffer between those two entrances be extended all the way out to the roadway, and some type of monument sign or something be added there so no trucks could ever possibly come on southbound on Little East Neck and turn into that development. I've actually made a little sketch of this, okay, if you'd like. It's right where the traffic light is.
Could you hand that up?
I can hand that up, okay?
And we'll
Okay.
ask the applicant to address that.
Again, we had spoken about this. They had verbally agreed that there was a great idea, and they would, have that in conversation. Obviously, that hasn't been added into their design yet, but that doesn't mean it will not be. So hopefully...
that's what this
they're-
is designed
Right, that's
for.
why I'm hoping that, this comment again gets brought up, and they will understand it, okay? Now, again, I'm an electrician. I build big buildings myself, okay? I'm just looking at this development, and excuse me for being slightly ignorant, but there's 344 full truck bays to this development. I understand it's 100 acres. I understand development. The development looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong, okay? But I just can't, in the life of me, understand how we can accommodate 344 bare minimum on a daily basis coming in and out of this development after a full build-out. And obviously, you're going to have more than one tractor trailer per building coming in and out on a daily basis. I understand the environmental impact study. I understand they did the roadways, but there's 344 tractor trailer bays to this property. There's no way that you're going to do double or triple that amount of tractor trailers on the existing roads. There's just no way. And I don't care what impact study that you're showing. I don't see it. Again, I'm an electrician. I don't do this for a living, roadways and whatnot, but I just don't see that volume of traffic being added to our roadways.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Lois Fricky?
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to make this short.
Just state your name and address.
My home address?
No,
No.
your business
My
address.
business, Lois Fricky, Long Island Builders Institute and Long Island Home Builders Care. We're in Islandia, 1757 Veterans Memorial Highway. So over the last 30 years, I've actually spent most of my time helping people all over Nassau and Suffolk County, and one of them is Babylon in particular. We have a charity, a 501c3, that we constantly help the community center with food, with everything you can think of. And I see there's a lot of people that just don't have jobs. They really need jobs. I think there's a lot of jobs that are missing in this county. In the town of Babylon, we have a lot of members. We have over 750 companies that are members of Long Island Builders. That's thousands and thousands of people. And they're all upset about their younger sons and daughters who are graduating college and moving out of here. They're not going to see their grandkids. They're not going to see their children because we don't have enough work for them here. This project, we totally support it. It needs to be done in a fashion where the residents are happy and comfortable, but you're not going to find a project like this anyplace. You're not going to find a place that'll give the jobs. I've never seen, and I'm shocked of all the things that they're willing to give the town and the community. It's just fantastic for them to do all this. And so I hope that you'll approve this. We'll be behind you, and if I have to get 1,000 people here, I will. So thank you.
Thank you. Shonda?
I have, by the way, letters of like 20 people that live here.
You can hand them up to the clerk. Shonda Thurow.
brief. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the information, and I have no comments at this time.
I'm sorry, just pull you the microphone.
Oh, thank
Just
you.
state your name and address.
Shonda Thurno, 51 Ridge Road. And I'll be brief. Thank you for the information and this opportunity, and I have no comments at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Kennemer.
Good morning, everyone. Town Board, Mr. Schaefer, appreciate you being here. I am going to read...
Just state your name and address.
Sorry. Alan Kinnemer, 500 Sunrise Highway, Amityville. I'm here to read a prepared statement on behalf of the Long Island Builders Institute. Dear members of the Babylon Town Board, on behalf of the Long Island Builders Institute, the largest home building and remodeling advocacy organization in New York State, I am writing to express our enthusiastic support for the proposed Suffolk Technology Park project. This development proposal by the Bristol Group promises to transform 100 acres of unimproved land along Long Island Avenue, excuse me, in the hamlet of Wyandotte into a state-of-the-art business park. Moreover, the project ensures a sustainable, environmental-friendly construction process and includes traffic improvement to alleviate congested intersections to enhance the overall infrastructure of the area. Our organization fully supports the Bristol Group Suffolk Technology Park development. We look forward to seeing the project move forward. Mike Florio, CEO, Long Island Builders Institute. I'm sorry.
Great, you want to hand that up? Alan?
I'll pass these out. Also, on a personal note, we own 500 Sunrise Highway. We just bought 60,000 square feet on Edison Avenue. We have 30,000 square feet on Keene Street. It's very difficult to find warehouses with a 30-foot high ceiling. So there's definitely going to be a demand for their warehouse, for their offices. So personally, I approve it as well.
Great, thank you. Just hand that up to the clerk. Kevin Key.
Good morning. My name is Kevin Key, 172 Conklin Avenue. Thanks for the presentation. Information was pretty good. I really just have a couple of questions, and then I'll end with some comments.
Sure.
Let's see. And probably was my misunderstanding. The solar benefits, does that apply to residents who also have solar?
Yeah, they'll, if you ask your questions, they'll come back up and answer them. Yep.
So does the solar benefit apply to residents?
To residents,
Also, the heading southbound on Little East Neck Road, those making a left into the park, is there a left turn lane? He talked about the two lights north of that and south of that, but didn't talk about the light that they were adding. So was there a left lane? And then I'd just like to comment about the truck situation. There are many truck limits throughout the community, Colonial Spring Road, south of Long Island Avenue, south of Little East Neck Road, south of the railroad. There are 5,000-pound truck limits. So my understanding is, where do all these trucks that are going to supposedly be coming into the park, how do they get there? Where do they come in without going through the community? So I have a real clear question about that. Colonial Spring Road has truck limits. Like I said, Little East Neck Road, south of the railroad, has truck limits. So how are they going to get into the park? Also, in my reading, Lot 2 talked about on 28th Street adding an entrance on 28th Street in Wheatley Heights, but that wasn't talked about. So where is that? That's a residential section, residential streets. So if they're going to add an entrance there, what type of traffic is going to come through that residential area? Where is the entrance going to lie?
So your question is that they're adding an entrance?
That's what my understanding of what I read. It said Lot 2 is going to have an entrance on 28th Street.
Okay.
The way I understood it.
We'll ask them that, too.
Yep, where's that entrance?
That's not my understanding,
Yeah.
but we'll ask them that. Yeah, but we'll ask you to come up and just
Gotcha.
address the questions regarding the solar and the left turn lane.
Correct.
And the trucks and whether or not there's an
Gotcha.
entrance.
That's all I have. Thank you for hearing me.
Great, thank you.
Hopefully hear from you soon.
Thank you, Kevin. Marie Martinick. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, sure, you could fill out the card there. Yeah, if you've come in late, just before Maurice speaks, if you've come in late and you want to address the board, we ask you to just come up front. There are cards to be filled out, and you turn it into Jen, so that way we can call your name. I'm sorry, go ahead,
No,
Marie.
that's okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marie Martinek. I am a resident of Massapequa, also belong to Libby, and very active in Long Island Home Builders Care, which does a tremendous amount of donating to the Babylon community. I am absolutely in favor for this project. We heard wonderful information about the benefits. I also have quite a few letters of residents of Babylon that are in support of this project, and I just think that the benefits could outweigh anything negative about this project. So I wish it a lot of luck.
Sure, just hand the letters up so they
Yep.
can be included in
Thank
the
you.
record. Sandra Thomas.
Good morning. My name
morning.
is Sandra Thomas. I live at 49 Sunset Avenue, Wheatley Heights. I am the president emeritus of the Concerned Taxpayers of Wheatley Heights Dix Hill Civic Association. I'd like to preface what I'm going to say by saying that the Bristol Corporation has been very, very responsive to our needs in Wheatley Heights. They've reached out to us, and we're very appreciative of all the concessions and the things that they've done to make this property and this proposal saleable. I just want to say, and Chris Black, our president, will speak for us, but I want to say that the impact on the Wheatley Heights community is greater than anything else. And so then the benefit. And so that we feel that the Wheatley Heights community should have some kind of capital gains benefit, such as sewers, or even a gas line. Because the impact is going to be tremendous on us. And so that we ask that when you consider this proposal, that the town make that a possibility for us. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Diane Lloyd.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this opportunity to be able to share with everybody and the information that was given. And we've heard, lots of rumors and things like that. And I need to say that I live right in front of where you're going to be building on North 28th Street. And I have been meeting with the different neighbors on North 28th Street all the way up to Long Island Railroad. And there has been a lot of conversation, I hear, about the community and things, but we were never informed of any conversation. We were part of a Zoom during COVID, my husband and I, and we had some concerns at that time, but we were never notified anybody on our block, and we are right there by the drainage. So we would like to be informed by both civic associations and the town if there are any further conversations or private conversations. We will be at the next board meeting. I had gotten the plans from the town and had a meeting and gave those residents on Wheatley Heights an opportunity to look at the plan and explain to them what I know of some of the benefits. I looked it up online. We Googled it actually at the meeting and looked up what the Bristol was planning and the benefits and things like that. But we did, and I do have some concerns for one of the things with the recharge buffer. When we saw it, we were concerned about what was going to go into that water, because that water is only like 200 feet away from our homes. And even though there is a buffer and there is going to be some foliage that is there currently, we were concerned about smells, we were concerned about flooding, if the drain, that is, I'm not so sure, as I'm not an architect or involved with the environment, but the drainage from there, it looks small for 111 acres to drain. What is going in there? That's what I think, what exactly is going in there, if they could answer that question.
Sure.
About the buffer. One is that all of our suggestions were, and now we see a little better, why can't the recharge buffer be somewhere else where there are no residents? On Long Island Railroad, there's no, by Long Island Railroad, I'm not sure if this cemetery has plots there. That number 2, lot number 2, that is the Pineland Cemetery. I'm not sure if that's available. The warehouse would be on the one side, the Long Island Railroad on the other side, where it is. I don't know about the pitch of the land and all that stuff. We were talking about moving it away from in front of that's our entire block there. That's going to be impacted by that. I don't know what can be done with that. The loading berths, the minimum actually is 384, the minimum. The maximum is 400. They are proposing 384 loading berths, and I agree with the man that spoke earlier. That's a lot of trucks. It's a lot of loading berths. I don't know if they're going to use them all. I don't know if they just put it in there because that's what they're proposing. But I would like to know exactly how many warehouses are going to be there and how many businesses. If there's going to be that many loading berths, then how many small businesses are really going to be in there? I agree with Councilman Anthony Mineta in reference to the need for small business within that. And with a 36-foot ceiling, I have small business. My ceiling is not 36 feet, and it's only one floor that's proposed. So where are those small businesses going? So you can answer that. We were concerned when we met on the neighbors of 28th Street, the timeline of these deliveries. It can in somehow in the I don't know if it goes in the permit or what you write it into, is that there would be a timeline so we don't hear that. I know that there's going to be that sound buffer. Exactly how high is that buffer? What is it made of? And how, how much sound does it buff? I live on 28th Street and we have that gas station on the corner. I sleep with the sound machine so I don't hear. At night, they deliver gas. So we are very concerned about sound and when these deliveries and garbage pickups are going to be. Are they going to be during the day? Is there going to be a timeline when there can't be deliveries? Like there is it's like 10 p.m., I think, in the town in terms of noise and things like that. So is there a timeline of collecting garbage, trucking deliveries, and things like that? They were concerned, of course, about Little East Neck Road because that impacts all of our community in that area. And we thought we saw 4 lanes on these plans. They thought they were going to increase from the 2 lanes on Little East Neck Road to 4. We thought that was there, not just at the intersections. Now, I have no idea if that is even humanly possible. But, that's something, again, that could be addressed to us and explained to us. Is that possible to make 4 lanes on Little East Neck Road? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. It would be nice, not 4, you know what I mean, so that, 4 lanes, 2 going each way. Like you're creating at the intersections. I'm not sure that's enough I do go down Little East Neck Road. I do go down Colonial Springs Road every day, and it's almost all day. It's not during one part. Okay, I said we weren't notified. Please notify us. We are concerned about the landscaping on North 28th Street, what that is going to look like as we look out our windows. Right now, it's very, very rough. We just had, during the summer, 4 stolen cars dumped there on our block. We have drug dealing going in front of my house that I have called constantly about. It looks like a deserted area. You can't even see the fence that was put in there by us constantly. There were people living in those woods. There were people, all sorts of things going on in the woods, and so Pine Lawn did put a fence up. So we're concerned about that. What is the landscaping going to be? Can we have sidewalks there so it looks like something? I think that's is that Pine Lawn's responsibility, or are you part of that, or are they part of that?
Are you talking about North 28th Street?
North 28th
So you're
Street.
requesting, just to be clear, first of all, who did you call regarding the drug dealing?
Oh, the police.
Okay, well, in the future, please call me.
Oh,
You
okay.
text me for a lot of different things.
Yes.
Don't tell me you don't want to bother me,
Oh, no.
all right? Because you bother me.
Thank
You bother me when I hear about it after the fact. That bothers me more than you texting me. We have a town investigations unit that we have set up over the last 3 years that's been very effective in dealing with those types of situations. These are retired undercover NYPD detectives who
I
live
did not know
locally
that.
in the town. They're very experienced at this, and we provide information that we can get. They've successfully dealt with a number of issues throughout different parts of the town. So please do not let us know that. And then on your point, you're requesting that something be done along North 28th Street
Absolutely.
regarding both the landscaping, fencing, and sidewalks. Just to be clear, because I want them to address this.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Diane.
Okay, address the nose wall, height, noise wall. We saw where it is going. And, okay, so then I put in, there's another one from my second card I put in.
Yes, you could just address.
Well, the executive director of Long Island Citizens for Community Values, and we work to protect men, women, and children in the sexualized culture. And I do have the town codes here in reference to sexually oriented business and adult use. And industrial, I want to clarify, is this an industrial park or a business park?
It will not allow for, under our code, so we're creating a planned industrial park code that would not allow for adult use.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Gina Farisi?
Good morning. My name is Gina Farisi. I own 135 Dale Street off Addison Avenue in West Babylon. Thank you for having me here this morning.
Thank you, Gina.
Being part of the community, also being part of the Builders Institute, I'm in favor of this project because it's going to be creating jobs, obviously, not to mention the tax benefits, but keeping businesses here. When I was looking for my building 2 years ago, there was a lot of obstacles finding what I needed. The town, we want to keep the opportunities here. Where this is located is very convenient for businesses, for being able to, like you said, have anything from 10,000 square feet to 4,000 square feet. That just does not exist often here, and it comes, if you have it, it comes with a price. The fact that this is going to be environmentally friendly is obviously important to us. It's empty land. We know something's going to be there. Land is scarce on Long Island. We need to be able to build on what is here. The fact that what's being proposed from the Bristol, who is an organization who, the second they put a shovel in the ground, they're part of that community. And I think you've seen that in the past already with them here. It's uncommon to have a builder or developer that's going to be such a part of the community. And the things that they're doing, I own a solar company, specifically residential, so there is no agenda here. But when you have a solar company that's somebody that's a developer that's going to put community solar on a property, and you're going to eliminate an electric bill for an entire high school. You're talking about the residents, the people that are going to be going to that school that now have a couple $1 million to be able to repurpose that money for the students, for the kids, for the future of our town, right? Not to mention community solar as an opportunity. Anybody who is not a candidate for solar, anybody who does not have access to be able to afford solar, it gives you an opportunity to be able to actually have an opportunity to be able to get solar, get a discounted rate on your electric bill, which is unbelievable. And the fact that they're including that for our community is absolutely amazing. Lastly, I know you hear a lot of rumblings. I attend a lot of these types of meetings, and with the rumblings, you hear a lot of pushback on traffic and things like that. And I understand. We all want to be able to live in a good community. We want to increase the value of our properties. We want the tax revenue coming in, and those are all going to be things that come with this project. But aside from traffic, you have a property that's pitching downward. We don't have really a massive water issue. They've solved a lot of those issues that they brought, that the concerns have been brought to the table. But at this point, when you're dealing with these types of opportunities, the pushback you get from the community of the effect it's going to have on the life of, and the livelihood of people, they're not looking at the opposite side of the jobs it's providing, the fact that people can be able to keep their children here, raise their grandchildren here. I was, my daughter's right here, and I was on the verge of moving down south because I couldn't afford to live here. And I have to work 7 days a week to be able to do this. And you want to be able to keep the community together. And I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Gina. Just before Gina sits down, I just wanted to, off topic, but I wasn't able to attend the thank you recognition for Gina's company. Gina's company stepped forward and handled a very serious situation for the Zion AME Church in North Amityville. Those of you who know it, it's the very tall, roofed church that sits on Albany Avenue and 44th Street in North Amityville. They were working very hard. They suffered a lot of losses during COVID for a couple of the leaders of the church, and they had to repair the roof or the structure would have been taken down. We consider it to be a historical structure in the town. It's one of the first churches in the town, and Gina's company, she has a roofing company, and we reached out to her, and she was nothing but tremendous. And I wasn't able to be there to thank you that day when I know the church celebrated you. So I wanted to say thank you for the work that you did, and we appreciate you being part of the Town of Babylon community. Carol Williams. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm here because I live on 27th Street.
Just state your address, Carol.
Yes, 186 North 27th.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm here because I live there. I live behind a sign that says Wheatley Heights, what a wonderful place to live. I don't think it'll be that wonderful if you build a structure there. It's a huge mammoth structure. It's not a small thing. It's larger than the USA Cannon building, this is twice the size of that. This is not something that you normally build in a residential area. This you might put over there near the highways or something like that. You're changing the zoning rules just to do that. I think that's not right. We have the ability to breathe clean air, our water, what we bathe in, what we drink, I would like to continue to have that kind of an environment around me. I don't know what my house will be worth if you put something like this there. I want you to consider that when you take this into the decisions you decide to make. I want to continue to live there. I've lived there for about 34 years. I would like to be able to do so longer. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I guess it's Robert Lotz. I think that's an L.
You already spoke.
Oh, Robert Lotz did? Oh, so I'm sorry, Robert Lutz. Oh, okay, this is second card. No, I think the gentleman said Ridge Road on Robert Lutz. This is 82 Colonial Springs Road? Oh, Robert Eats, I'm sorry. There you go.
Good morning. My name is Robert Eats. I live at 82 Colonial Springs
Is that
Road.
E-A?
E-A-T-Z.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. I've listened to the proposal. I've seen this beautiful building. It's a nice structure. Does not belong in a residential area. It disturbs the quality of life in Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch. I mean, it has benefits, but the benefits are not complementary to the destruction of the neighborhood. And there's too much traffic, there's too much congestion, there's too much things that have to be done to even install this thing. It's ridiculous. It doesn't belong here. Maybe in another neighborhood, but not in Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch. It serves no purpose, really. It destroys the quality of life for people, and I just don't see it as a benefit. I mean, I'm sure Bristol put in a lot of time to try and develop it, and I would say thank you, but no thank you. It's not for us. It really isn't.
Gene Rodriguez. Oh, thank you. Next speaker is Gene Rodriguez.
Hello, my name is Gene Paul Rodriguez. I live at 153 North 28th Street of Wheatley Heights, Wyandanch. Is there any way you can put the plan back up, please? So I initially attended the Zoom meeting for this a few years ago, and that's not what you guys showed us. In the original meeting, the little corner over there where you moved it, the capturing water zone was all along the Wheatley Heights and at the front on Little Neck Road. You put it in an area that actually floods. When I moved into the area a few years ago, that area in that corner used to flood every time it rained. All the water goes downhill. That is the bottom of the hill. It is the best place to have that, but not the best place for that community. She was correct about saying that that's not a good spot. Initially, where you had it on Little Neck Road was ideally the best location just because it's away from residents. You're putting to capture all the runoff from your construction where you have residential. That's not exactly the best location. You had extended their setback, but not ours. So in terms of having an equal side on both sides, you should do that to both. Before it was equal. So what you did is you had meetings with Wheatley Heights residents and not Wyandanch, which is what I'm seeing. So I can see you tried hard to accommodate everybody, but you only saw us once. Then you took your comments, went to the Wheatley Heights guys, and they had more comments, and now this plan flipped in their favor. So it really doesn't benefit my community, which is the Wyandanch community. I'm kind of disappointed that you guys didn't reach out to us. I actually am a landscape architect by training, and I work for the Parks Department. There was no more feedback to that one meeting. I am saddened to see that. Working for the city, that would have never happened.
Well, that's what today is designed for.
No, it's not. You guys had one meeting with our community, and that meeting shows a whole completely different plan. I will send you an email because I took a picture of that Zoom meeting. And I have it in my pocket now.
Mr. Rodriguez, let me just give you some information. What today is designed for is to hold a public hearing. After this, we're going to request that they meet with you and your neighbors.
Well,
and that's why we appreciate you coming today.
But what I'm seeing isn't that. I'm seeing that they met with the Wheelie Heights community and got all their input.
Correct, and now they
then
have to,
changed it.
now they have to get it right and meet with you.
Yes, because the plan that I'm looking at, that little area was a parking lot.
So we appreciate you-
Which makes more sense because you're not going to have flooding.
Right, and we appreciate
flood
you coming
issues
today
there.
to bring that to our attention.
And again,
So we have your, I'm sorry? No, we'll let him, we'll let him,
and again,
we'll let him talk, but I'm just, then we'll allow you to finish, and then I'll give you the information.
again,
Okay?
it's not really fair that you cut me off like they're saying when
Well,
everyone
I'm
else
sorry I did.
and everyone else is talking about construction and all these things that's bringing to the town. That's not exactly true because after construction's over in 2 years, what they're going to do? That's only for while they're construction, they're going to have those construction jobs. When construction's done, they go somewhere else. So it's not a full-time thing. Construction's done quick, real quick in something like this. They're not going to spend 2 years to probably try to get out here quick. But again, I would like to see an equal share of setbacks on our side as well as much as you did theirs. If anything, I think you shrunk ours. Let me look at my phone real quick because I took a picture of it. Yeah, there was a road in between the parking lot. We lost the road and you just put the parking lot right up against it. So yeah, we lost additional square footage. So you made our spot smaller and you accommodated the Wheelie Heights area a lot more. And that's where you had your retention. So why did you switch it and why didn't you notify us when you did? You should have told us, hey, we got this feedback, or at least gotten both communities together so we can properly kind of come up with a better solution. I kind of feel that was missed. So I don't see it being equal. It's one-sided right now. I hope you can fix that. Oh, and I'd also like to see a lighting study just because we have parking on our side. I don't want to see all that light, and that dip is in your construction site, so that where the parking is, that's all light facing all our homes on 28th Street. So it's not dipping down. Is it overlighting, underlighting? Yeah, lighting study would be good anywhere you have next to residential. So that whole 28th Street, you're putting parking, and the natural buffer's not even wide enough. You gave the natural buffer to like 4 or 5 houses. There's like at least 10 houses on our side. Okay, that's it.
So I apologize for speaking over you, but what today is designed for is to gather all of the comments that need to be addressed before this goes forward. So we appreciate...
But you do not understand. They got comments and they didn't come back.
Which is why...
So my thing is, when was that meeting scheduled and why wasn't the whole town notified? Because I did not see us. I've been looking. I've been checking. I've actually checked the website and none of this, I can't get access to none of this stuff as of last week.
This is the first scheduled public hearing on this.
So they met with them and not with anybody else.
And that's what we're designed to do, is to make sure that they meet with everybody.
I see these all the time, that, people get kind of shifted and forgotten, and I just don't want that to happen to my community.
No, that's why you're here, is to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Okay.
And then our job is to make sure that that happens. So I apologize once again, but we appreciate you letting us know that you weren't spoken to. That's the whole...
They pretty much shifted that parking lot from one side and
Yes, and
got that to accommodate that.
and that's why it's important. We have a court stenographer here who's taking down everything that's being said, so that way we can make sure that they address your concerns as well as all of the concerns of the speakers before you and that will speak after you.
Yes.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Love Foy. Love Foy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having this so that we could, speak our minds and let you know how we feel. My name is Love Foy. I live at 44 Foxwood Drive in Wheatley Heights. So I just have a few comments. I want to thank the taxpayers, the concerned taxpayers of Wheatley Heights for informing us of this meeting today. I had no idea that this was even happening. So I appreciate the flyer and I appreciate the email. So I have a few things I'd like to say. Number one, we have a beautiful residential neighborhood, Wheatley Heights, Wyandanch area. We will never recover from this if you build this monstrosity, because that's what I think it is, a monstrosity in our beautiful neighborhood. It, as the gentleman said, it just has no place there. We are purely residential. We are a community. Some of my family and friends, when they come to visit, they call us the Mr. Rogers neighborhood. Imagine putting this thing in the middle of Mr. Rogers neighborhood. I mean, it doesn't even look like it belongs there. Number two, we are a very diverse community, many people of color. New York has a horrible track record of destroying Black and brown communities with commercial and residential properties. This has been done over the generations. And I'm wondering if the council thought about bringing in the NAACP maybe, bringing in some people that have history and understand what happens over time when this happens. Have you spoken with them, discussed what are the long-term, short-term effects of doing this? It's interesting to me that everybody here presenting is not a person of color. And I don't think that any of them live in Wheatley Heights or Wyandanch. And I wonder if any of them would build this in their communities. Okay. I look at Wyandanch right now, I see all the residential buildings that are going up there. I've lived in the neighborhood since 2006, and I know that Wyandanch itself suffered from, commercial or I guess industrial land that was kind of abandoned and left to become sort of in disrepair. So it boggles my mind that you are, in one essence, trying to rebuild and revitalize Wyandanch by bringing in residential homes and park space, and then you're going to go build this thing. It just makes no sense to me. There's no sort of like understanding there outside of these people building this thing, making money from it. Long Island right now needs residential properties. We have young people who are graduating from college, can't afford to live here. We need residential properties. We do not need commercial property. Melville has tons of unused space. Tons of unused space. The businesses that are gonna go here, why can't they go over in Melville? I think what I heard, I think they're thinking about turning that into residential space, but maybe put the businesses over there. It's already commercial. It just makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. I'm wondering if the council had a chance to speak to the residents of some of the other communities where they've built these monstrosities, like the one over in Melville by the Amazon. When I first drove by that, I just thought it was the ugliest thing, and I said to myself, I wonder what the community said about this. And I know that there is a temple. I think there's a temple across the street from there, and then there's also a sort of a closed-in residential community, and I'm wondering if you've spoken with any of those people to ask them what they think about living and having their place of worship across the street from something that looks like this. I know some people said it was beautiful. I don't think it's beautiful. And the clouds and the pretty skies don't make it any more beautiful. So I'm wondering if you had a chance to talk to any of the people who live next to one of these and just get feedback from them about how they feel, about how it has affected their community and their daily lifestyle. And lastly, the gentleman just mentioned lighting. I'm a stargazer, and right now where I live, I can come out of my house at night and I can look up at the sky and I can actually see stars. And I'm curious about the lighting around something like this, if it's going to affect, our ability to see the night sky at night. So those are just some of my concerns. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Margie Robinson. Margie Robinson.
Good morning. My name is Marjorie Robinson. I'm from Flushing, Queens, 42-16, 156th Street. The reason why I'm here, it has to do with the pine lawn graves in the cemetery. And my great-grandmother was a runaway slave. And she came to Roslyn, Long Island, at Salem AME Church. And when she came there, she was on the deed of the church at age 13 years old. However, even though she was 13, we're not really sure what her age is at this point, because we have to try to go back and try to, look up what the whole history is. But my concern at this time is at the graves, because personally, I have 3 people at that grave, and one is a baby. And we're trying to find out who it is. And not only is speaking for myself, I'm speaking to other African American people who were that died and are buried at that grave site. And we also have soldiers that fought in the Civil War who are buried there. So I would like to know personally also, what are they going to do? Because I understand I'm kind of late. I didn't hear about this other, about the grave part of the situation that is going on, but you haven't made, as far as I know, you haven't made any final decisions, or are you going to make final decisions today, or is it coming up later on?
No final decision.
No final decision. So at this time, I'm going to be very brief. I would like you to have more, if we can get more people involved in this, because it's not only Salem AME Church in Roslyn, has to do with Setauket, Setauket AME Church, and also in Brooklyn, and it's hundreds. We have lists of hundreds of names that are buried at that site. And we want to know, we don't want you to dig up the burial. And then also I heard about they might put some type of building around it. If you put a building around it, who's going to see it? Who's going to be able to find it? So we want our people to be treated as they should. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Lenny Minervini?
Thank you, Supervisor and the Town Board, for hearing me today. My name is Lenny Minervini. I live at 272 Chestnut Avenue in East Meadow. I am here on behalf of my uncle, Lenny Minervini, who lives at 611 George Street in North Babylon, and I also work with Checkmate Security at 65 John Street in Babylon. It's a local company with more than 15 employees and many local clients. At this point, I would like to ask that the project be approved and to help with the local tax revenue, jobs, both in construction and moving forward, as well as improving on a blighted area.
Thank you. Adiahambo Komba?
Good morning. My name is Adiambo Komba. I live on Westwood Village on Devon Lane. That's the development that runs alongside Little East Neck Road. And I guess I'm one of the rumblers, but I am a resident, and as Sandy Thomas noted earlier, we are probably going to be impacted significantly. I have a small concern. So as there are 2 access points into the development, one is Charleston, that's the one I use most frequently. At any given time, specifically in the morning or in the evenings, if you're trying to make a left, it's often difficult. And looking right, you're already sighted. So I'm wondering whether the people who did the traffic study actually came into the development and tried to exit the development onto Little East Neck Road. You've made changes to Little East Neck Road and Colonial Springs Road to accommodate more traffic on Little East Neck Road. So that means that we will be impacted significantly. So Typically, if I want to make it onto Long Island Avenue to go to Southern State, I need to clear the bridge, the railroad tracks by 5:30. If I'm running a little late, I then have to take a more circuitous route and go to Route 110. And that's currently. So imagine when the traffic is increased threefold, fourfold, how that is going to impact us. So I see that you have relocated the entrance to the park. Do you plan to relocate those 2 access points into the development? And if not, what are you going to do? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Martide Dalia? Martide Dalia? Is that you? Is Martide Dalia here? No? Okay, we can come back if she's not here. Kevin Hessian?
My name is Kevin Hessian. I live at 40 Ridge Road, Wheatley Heights. And I've come down here today to oppose this construction project. I've heard all these people tell me great things that would happen. I'd like to address each and every issue of that. This solar generation, are you just going to pipe that into the high school, or are you going to give that to the local grid? Because I have solar on my house, and it serves me greatly, but it doesn't benefit my neighbors at all. If you know anything about electrical generation, transmission costs is everything. Are you piping it directly in the high school and giving them free electricity? That's one of my questions. The second is hundreds of loading docks with trucks. Are you kidding me? Now it's up here. You have the recharge area on the upper right, and right above that you have the water station for Wheatley Heights. All the brake dust, all the oil, all the antifreeze that spills in that lot is going to go into your recharge basin. It's going to go into my water supply. As far as the technology center, this isn't a technology center. This is a waste dump transfer site. Let's not kid ourselves. As far as the sound mitigation, you know, lots of trees. I hear you're very generous with our land, giving us a perimeter around the property. Who here at night can still hear UPS in Farmingdale? I can, and this is a lot closer. This place will be lit up with floodlights, causing light pollution. The traffic jam will be endless and never ending. The poisoning of our water. Who in Bethpage voted to have dioxazine 1,4 put in their water? No one. Rich, we're holding you accountable right now. Don't poison our water. It's that simple. I remember in Wheatley Heights when they said they were going to Camp Kaufman and build baseball fields, and they had all these trucks come in. They had a conga line of trucks that destroyed the road and mined the fields and took all the sand, and they said they're going to put baseball fields and tennis courts for the kid. They never did. If you look at your aerial, you'll see it's just an open sand mining pit. Nothing was ever done, but the sand mining was allowed. As far as the traffic, hundreds of trucks day and night. The traffic on that road is phenomenal now. If I pull out, I won't go anywhere if I know if it's 4 o'clock. I won't go on the back road because I got to wait to go a mile down to the traffic light. Now, if you plan on widening back road, are you planning on taking my backyard on Ridge Road like you once proposed, or are you going to dig up the dead on the other side? Because making the road intersections more offensive will help a little bit, but are not going to mitigate traffic. You were talking hundreds and hundreds of trucks day and night. As far as what time this will happen, it'll be happening at night. That's when truckers move around, when traffic's at least. You'll be hearing them coming and going up Lily Neck Road day and night. As far as the landscaping, you know, I remember they said when they're building Wine Dance Rising, they're going to put all this great landscaping around it. But I haven't seen anything. I just see parking lots and, you know, an underdeveloped community down there. As far as jobs for the citizens, well, let's be honest, any construction job goes out to bid. It's not like the people of Wine Dance can sign up and get preferential treatment. It's not for them. As far as tax reductions, they told me when they put in the red light tax, they get hundreds of millions of dollars in traffic. I'm like, that's great. My taxes should disappear with that type of income. Nobody's taxes will ever go down in this town. We just don't want them to go up as fast as they have been. This project is ill thought out. You live here, Tony. I know where you live. You live around the block from me. You're going to poison the water and you're going to still live here? What do you tell your kids when they can't drink it? The people of Bethpage are already suffering because their town board didn't listen to them. I'm imploring you people to listen to us. We are saying no to this project, and especially with all the offers. The shiny new fire truck for the fire department, scholarships for kids. Come on, people, we're not that stupid. You're not going to give shit to anyone after you build this thing. We do not want it, Rich, and I came down here to tell you that today, and your entire council. We will hold you all responsible if this goes through, because you will destroy our homes by poisoning the water and making it unlivable with endless truck traffic. Don't kid yourself. You're not building a technology park to build medical equipment. You're building a place that's an environmental damage. I worked in one of these places as a child. They used to have us burn shit. And I go, what happens if the town comes? He goes, don't worry. Well, I didn't know what that meant at the time, but he obviously got away with it. They're going to be, my next question is, the railroad track, are you going to have trade tracks put on this facility in the future so rail traffic can come in there to unload? I see where you have those giant parking lots. Are those just meant for the dumping of the garbage in the future? You know, that's how an engineer would design things. Your recharge basement at the lower part of the property, yeah, I get that. But you're next to my water. Have you ever thought of that? And what goes in the recharge? This is a huge cement field that just washes runoff of any garbage that they're moving here. They'll dump garbage here in the daytime, they'll sort it, they'll pick it up, they'll move it out by truck. That's why it has bays. No one's going to be building medical equipment here or building future things. It's just it's a land grab at our expense, and we won't have it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Karen Turk.
Good morning. Karen Turk, 32 Brookwood Drive, Wheatley Heights. I live in the development that's just to the north of that, and many things have been said already that clearly state how we in Wheatley Heights feel. Thank you for your proposition. Thank you for offering to pay off all these institutions in the neighborhood. But number one, Little East Neck Road will not be able to handle it. Traffic there is already horrible. The truck traffic, it's not going to be able to handle it. And as far as our neighborhood, we don't live in a blighted neighborhood. It's a lovely neighborhood. Why somebody would even say that, I cannot imagine. Do not do this industrial park. It does not benefit Wheatley Heights.
Thank you. Judy Santana.
My original question, I already forgot. I was so incensed at what somebody said, is if it does go through, what's the timeline for building the road? Does it come before the industrial park, during the industrial park, or after it's created? It's terrible either, any of those ways.
Thank you. Judy Santana.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
My main concern is that
Miss Judy, just state your address.
Okay, 78 Ridge Road, and I live right off Little East Neck. North of the park on Little East Neck Road, daily cars cut through because of the traffic to get to the other end, and they come through flying. There's a lot of kids on the corner that the bus picks up every day and return them every day throughout the neighborhood. And I see these cars flying. Even walking my dog, people cut through and an accident can happen, and that's what I foresee. Right now, when the traffic is built up, as I said, people continue to cut through, and I'm just wondering what's going to happen. How can you stop it when you build this place here? They're going to cut through automatically to keep from being losing their time or getting late to where they have to go. My next question is, will our taxes go up or will they be decreased? That's it.
Thank you. Maxie Lau O'Keefe.
Good afternoon. My name is Maxie Lau
Good
O'Keefe. My address is 151 North 28th Street. So as you guys can obviously hear, everybody that's not supportive of this project, that the traffic is going to be insane on Little East Neck Road. So we obviously, living in the community, we take that street like literally religiously to get home. So with that being said, even though they're putting in like 2 lane each way and whatever they're going to do, just the same thing with the amount of traffic that's going to build and the amount of trucks that's going to be there, day and night, it's just going to be like a never-ending story. Now, I obviously, like I said, I live on 28th Street with the train passing through. Our land, my house, I'm sure everybody on North 28th Street knows, the house vibrates a little bit. So with that being said, when they built this project right in front of directly in our house, with all the trucks, hundreds of trucks going through, is that gonna be like, just, vibrate insanely every single day with the amount of traffic going through? If, if the space is gonna be occupied with, I'm sorry, however many bays it's gonna be there, excuse me. And again, well, not again, I'm sorry. So 10 years ago, I bought my house. I moved from Nassau to Suffolk. And the first thing that I, came and saw the area, I fell in love because the street that, that I live on, directly when we look at it across, it's just a beautiful field. The cemetery is all the way towards the front. So in front of our house, you just kind of see like a park fenced in by pine lawn, which is great. So I, told myself, you know what, if I'm gonna raise my family here in Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch, this will be a perfect area. This is gonna be a perfect location. So 10 years ago, I decided and I bought my house there. But now I'm literally starting my family and I can't imagine how it's going to be with the noise, with the pollution, with everything that's gonna happen with my future family living here. And I don't know, like, it sounds horrible, but it makes me want to leave. And then on top of it, as everyone knows, the Wyandanch School District, it's crap. Okay, from when I looked at it, it was like a scale 1 compared to a 10. And then now we have this going on, like, I don't know, it makes us not wanna be here. But it sucks because like this is our home. And it's been our home, and we're trying to make it better, but this is not making it any better. This is causing, yeah, it sounds good and all, they're saying that they're gonna make a lot of jobs, but what about the family that lives here? You guys, all the supporters are saying that, they support this, they come up here and they speak and they tell you the address. The first thing they say, they don't even live within the property of the area. They're from Amityville, they're from Babylon. I get it, we're a big town, I get it. But that is not our, where this building is being built, surrounding that area, as you guys can all hear, everybody that's coming up, we live around this building that's gonna come up. Everybody who's supporting it don't even live around this area. So, I don't know, I mean, Tony, right, you live down the block. Again, is this something that, like you are in favor of also? Like, I don't know, but again, I'm definitely not a big supporter of this. This is gonna ruin my home. This is gonna, like, is literally making me feel like I wanna move out of here. And I really, really regret saying this because 10 years ago, I came in and I looked around and I'm like, wow, this is gonna be the place to live. This is gonna be the place where I wanna raise my family. And now I really wanna cry and say like, they're gonna ruin this place. They really are. So, and just same thing, just like the last person said, is our taxes gonna keep going up because it keeps going up every single year. Like, yeah, STAR's helping, but with this happening, like, but I don't know. It's not a good idea. But thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call again Martoli Delia. Is that person here? No? All right, so that person left. Chris Black.
Good afternoon now.
Good afternoon.
It's no more in morning. My name is Chris Black. I'm the president of the Concerned Taxpayers of Wheatley Heights Dix Hills Civic Association, Incorporated. I'd like to first say thanks to the Bristol organization for meeting with us, working and hearing our concerns within the community. Ms. Tracy Edwards as being a person that is a person that hears our concerns and brings it back to Bristol. Good morning, Mr. Schaefer. Good afternoon, Mr. Schaefer. Councilman Tony Martinez, Councilman Dwayne Gregory, Councilman Mineta, and the Town of Babylon Board. And McSweeney, thank you. Sorry about that, Mac. As well as the residents of Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch, who we work together as one. For the gentleman that said that this is a blighted area, I just wanted to address this, that if you don't live in my area, then you can't talk about it. So, this area of Wheatley Heights is an area that has families that have strong jobs. We make money. We put money into our property to make it look good. And when our property looks good, the town of Babylon looks good. There's a saying, when a neighbor improves his property, we thank the neighbor, because when that neighbor improves his property or her property, we say to the neighbor, thank you for increasing the value of my home as well as yours. This project that is in front of us is a massive, massive, massive project. It is hurting my community. You've heard the residents that have spoken this morning and this afternoon about their concerns on this property. And I'm glad that I'm last, because it allows me not to have to reiterate the things that were said. I know everyone on the board here, and we work together as a civic association and the town of Babylon. One cannot do without the other. Anything you come to me for, I come back to you for, because we help. One hand helps the other. But I ask you is to please look at these plans and don't think about the pockets that are being filled. I understand that we need, I respect the Long Island builders. I thank you for the work that you've done throughout Suffolk County and Long Island itself. I respect that, because those are families that are being, having jobs that are providing food on their table. I understand that and I respect that, because I am a union person as well. But however, you're talking about building within my community where it affects the homeowners that have been here for over 50 years, paying taxes every year. Taxes have gone up, and they're keeping their property intact. This is a project that is overwhelming. But however, we sat and we listened. We didn't hire any attorneys, because we could. Every time we come here, we bring attorneys. But we were doing it in a diplomatic way, where we wanted to listen and work with the town, work with Bristol, and work with the community, who will hope in return will work with the community. And I'm asking, don't hurt my area. Don't put things in our area that affects everyone. Understand this. There's so many plans, so many reports So many people coming from the outside looking to come into my area to build, but you never want to live in my area. But you want to work in it and make money, but live in it. Buy a house in Wheatley Heights. And half of them may not be able to. I didn't say it, somebody else did. Because Wheatley Heights is a wonderful place to live, and we protect it. And it can't protect it without the town. I know a lot of the officials of here, Mr. Schaefer, I could call you any day and any night you answer my phone calls. And I thank you. Same thing as the Deputy Supervisor Tony Martinez and many others. Lord knows I write and I call. And I call because the reason why I care about my community, and you know it just as well. But I ask you, is allow me to continue taking care of the community and not having corporations and builders to come and just saturate the area with tall buildings and wide buildings and trucks and massive vehicles coming into our area, destroying it. You know me, you know my community. And our community looks good, which makes you look good. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
I just also have to add up for the record, I got an email this morning from Letitia Walker, who's the president of the Concerned Citizens of Wyandanch, and she wasn't able to attend, but she wanted us to submit this letter up as part of the record, so we'll do that. Does the applicant wish? What I would suggest is, I know that there were a number of questions asked or clarifications requested. Did you take a list? I'm sorry, Diane? Rich, could you read that statement from Letitia? Oh, sure. So this was addressed to me and the members of the town board, dated today, October 26th. My name is Letitia Walker. I'm a civic and school leader in the Babylon Township, writing on behalf of Concerned Citizens of Wyandanch Civic Association. For the past 2 or so years, we have been supporters of the proposed Bristol Business Park, which is slated to be developed in the Wyandanch jurisdiction and will positively impact our entire community system, which includes our library, fire district, and schools, by offering new ways to support our economic and workforce growth. Led by the Bristol Group and Tracy Edwards, their outreach efforts have been consistent and equitable to include all Wyandanch stakeholders. In fact, they were the featured guest speakers at the inaugural reception for the Committee for Intergovernmental and Community Relations, where they gave a project overview, features, benefits, and cost savings to the Wyandanch community on October 21st, 2024. From the onset, it was our understanding that our community would gain access to tax revenue and infrastructure benefits that we desperately need. The Bristol Group has not only met with us on multiple occasions, but they have provided data, analysis, feedback, and plans to address the environmental changes that will occur within our communities. As stated in May 2022, we believe the Bristol project can bring diverse industries to our town and propel mentorship, which supports Wyandanch children and their families. Above all else, we want Wyandanch youth and their family units to thrive. We believe that Tracy Edwards and the Bristol Group have been transparent and honest about their construction plans, and we will stand in support of their effort. Concerned Citizens of Wyandanch Civic Association is dedicated to promoting a cleaner, healthier community, and to achieve that, we need to advocate for smart building initiatives that drive long-term improvement. We believe the Bristol project will help build our community into a stronger center for living. We are aware a public hearing has been scheduled for October 26th. Due to our consistent grassroots community presence, we have previously committed ourselves to the Wyandanch Fall Festival on the same date and time. Please excuse our absence and enter our entire statement of support into the meeting record. Respectfully written, Letitia S. Walker, President. So That will be included in the record. So, I'm sorry. Chris? Yes, Supervisor, can I add one? Oh, yeah, sure, you can add to your comment, sure.
I forgot to mention one thing as well. Bristol was nice enough to extend a lot of suggestions as to how to help out the community. But however, what was brought to us, we felt was not equal as to what other communities were receiving. As you see that this is a $5.8 million tax. We're talking about taxes. The tax benefits, correct. But however, other locations seem to be getting more than what Wheatley Heights is getting, such as the advantage of in Wyandanch, you're getting more tax incentives for the school, for the library, the fire department, ambulance corps, centers. Wheatley Heights is not getting anything but what was the small offering. So where we're asking is that since we are taking most of the burden of this project, is that we need to have more than what the others are getting, such as connection to the sewer line, connection to the gas line, something that is being allowed to be afforded within our community. Because right now, what you're offering, this massive project, is something that my community doesn't want. But however, at the end of the day, once you make that decision, of course, the town makes that decision. Think in mind as to what the needs that we can have to make our lives a little better as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, Chris. What we'll do is, you have a list of the questions. What I'd like to do is get the transcript from the court reporter, and then we can have you respond to each of the questions. We have the speakers who spoke. We have your contact info. We have your, Diane?
Diane Lloyd again. One more thought that hasn't been discussed is that there's going to be a 4 or 5 year time period during this construction with those types of trucks coming in and out and in and out, and all the excavating and things like that, and what is in place to protect our neighborhoods, Wyandanch and Wheatley Heights, during that 5 years. And you know, and I know that a proposed time of 4 to 5 years could end up 6 or 7. And so the other thing that was just briefly is the value of our homes. The value of our homes having this big industrial area, especially being built. If I want to sell my home during this construction time, it's going to impact what I can get and lower it, and for all of us. So that's something also. I don't know nothing has been said about what they're going to do during those times. And I think one woman, you know, when is that? That's going to have to be built. The Little East Neck Road issue is going to have to resolve before that starts. And what is it? Thank you again.
Thank you. So what we'll do is we'll take the transcript, we'll have the applicant and their representatives respond to each of the questions. So what I was starting to say was we have the speakers who filled out their cards included their address as well as their email address. If you don't think that you've written it clearly on there, some of you have messy handwriting, please, not calling out any penmanship, but just please come and look at your card and make sure that we can understand your email address as well as your home address. If you haven't filled out a card, please come up and fill out a card. If you would like to get further information and responses to the questions, as well as be notified of any further meetings that will be held. For example, the North 28th Street residents will be meeting with the representatives to discuss in further detail all of the items that you brought up earlier. So please, again, if you've filled out a card, come and see Jen. She has the cards, and just make sure, even if you think you wrote it neatly, take a look at your card and fill it out and make sure that it was done correctly and we understand it. If you haven't filled out a card, fill out a card up front if you want to be notified of their responses to all of the questions once we get the transcript. And then you'll be also notified of further information coming out on this. All right? Yes. Yes, you can, Rich.
Every comment that was made today will be part of the final EIS. We will also include all those...
Just explain what EIS means.
Okay, so we've had a draft EIS prepared, which...
No, just explain what EIS stands for.
Oh,
you don't
I'm
have
sorry.
to go
I'm
into
sorry.
a dissertation.
I'm
about
sorry.
it.
I've been doing this too long.
I've just saved you a half hour.
Okay. So, the final environmental impact statement will be prepared, and it will include the transcript. Every comment that was stated today
must be addressed.
Must be addressed fully. Also, everybody that spoke, we will have their address. They will be included in the final EIS review.
So that they'll be receiving.
They will receive the final EIS and the notification, so on and so forth.
But that's why it's important, if you spoke, please check your card and make sure that you've written clearly your home address as well as your email address.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And
Okay.
there is additional copies
And
of the
there are still
document
copies of
here.
the draft. Some of you have taken it, but there are additional copies over on the table here, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and Jen, there are residents who want to check their cards. Okay, just, we have to do a couple of things quickly. So,
Right after.
okay, we'll do it right after the meeting, okay. We're almost done, so just, if you could wait like 5 minutes. Yep. Okay, just, I'm going to go through this. So we just had the first public hearing, so I'm going to take a motion by Councilman Mineta, second by Councilman Martinez, to close and reserve. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. I'm going to read the second public hearing. I'm going to read the second public hearing, which is the rezone, and we're going to incorporate by reference all of the testimony and comments that were just done. So that's a public hearing in reference to change of zone subdivision for Bristol Suffolk LLC, application 24-13 ABE, Suffolk County Tax Map number 0100-38-.00.00.001.000, 0100-010.00, -04.00-044.00, and 0100-010.00-04.00, -043.000, and 0100-011.00, -01.00, -011.000, northeast corner of Little East Neck Road and the Long Island Railroad right-of-way, Wyandanch, New York, 11798. Take a motion from Councilman Martinez, second by Councilman McSweeney, to close and reserve and incorporate by reference all of the testimony that was just submitted in the first public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing is closed. Decision reserved. Just for the resolutions today, we've got authorizing the sale of certain property now owned or hereafter acquired by the town of Babylon. I'll make a motion to approve that. Second by Councilman Gregory. Would the clerk call the roll?
Councilman Mineta?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez?
Yes.
Councilman McSweeney?
Yes.
Councilman Gregory?
Yes.
Supervisor Schaefer?
Yes. Resolution's approved, 5 votes in favor, 0 opposed. Don't have any other cards, so I'll take a motion from Councilman Martinez, second by Councilman Mineta, to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. So if you are waiting, Jen, why don't we just, Tom, where is Tom stay? Thomas, come on up here and assist. Yeah, I'll see you over there. And then Belmont Lake.
You're not sitting down.
No, just in and out. We got the, yeah. No.
See you again. Still smiling? Honestly, I understand why everyone has concerns. I would too, but I'm here to. No, he's back there. How you doing? Thanks, you too.
We have some paper. Jerry, can I? Sure. Oh, here's more cards.
In other parts of the country, and they just, they work. Yeah, he's in the back. There he is. Take care, Joe. Yeah, so they've recorded all the questions, and then we'll respond directly to each person who asks a question. So you'll get a response from us.